In this video, we're going to take a look at several different date functions in Excel. Date functions can be very handy when working with reporting and analysis. And for this example, we have some real estate sales data, and we're going to take a look at this date column and ways to extract different elements out of it and do some calculations. To get us started, we'll start with the day function, which will give us the day of the month that the transaction occurred. So here we can see this was on February 24th, returns of 24. And we can pull that down a few rows to see that. If we're interested in just extracting the month, you can use a month function and then select our date column over here again. And there we have February and March for those records. If we wanted to extract the year, Excel has a year function. We can select that. And now let's say we were posed with a question of which day of the week did these sales occur. It'd be really hard to go into our calendar and find each day of the week for these. So Excel has a very handy weekday function. So we can type in a weekday. We'll click on our date. And now it's important with this formula, there's a optional argument return type. So if we hit comma, we can see that Excel will give us a few different options to choose from. And this will just ask which day of the week do we want to start as our first day. So if you wanted your first day to be 1, which would be Sunday, we could enter 1. If we wanted our week to start on Monday, we could enter 2. So for this example, I'll put 2. So Monday is our first day of the week. And we can pull this down a few rows. And then from here, if we wanted to get fancy, we could add an if statement. So if this equal 1, we could turn that into Monday, or create a lookup table off to the side to transform those. If we're working with dates and we want to know what the end of the month is, we could use an EOMONTH formula, select our date. And for our second part of the formula for months, if we hit 0, that will give us the last day of the month that our date is in. We can close that. Pull that down for a few records. So there we can see for February and March, the end of the month. Then we can get into some dynamic calculations. And let's say we want to know how many days these properties have been off the market. Now, every day that goes by, the days off the market will increase. So we could get fancy and use a today function, which will give us today's date. And then every time we come back to this report a day later, this date will update, and we can then subtract the date of the sale over here. And we can convert this to a number and pull this down. And there we can have a running total of how many days these properties have been off the market. So let's look at a few different date functions in Excel, taking out different elements of date over here. And now if we're interested in understanding the days, months, years, different days of the week, we could then have some columns over here to help us with our analysis.